From Content 360, this is the state of client acquisition. Welcome to the state of client acquisition. This is your host, Ana Bohanes. And in today's episode, I have the particular pleasure to be welcoming none other but my wife, Ana, who is a mindset and fitness coach and specializes in helping people create an alternative identity for themselves, an alter ego, so to speak, to help them to step into a new sphere, and it's like a new level of performance that they can get to. And her teachings were super impactful for me when I was growing my business, because they've helped me to understand things like that I was self-sabotaging and that it was not me talking, but it was like a inner force that was keeping me from achieving great things. And so I wanted to bring Ana on because this is so important for the work that we're doing. Getting clients is very often connected with rejection. And if we have a great mindset toolkit to help us deal with this, then we're going to be much better off and our performance will skyrocket. So without further ado, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and let's get right into it. Hello, wife.
Hi, thank you for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, it's a very special moment because I really enjoyed every single one of my interviews that I had on the podcast so far, but I never can say that I truly loved my interview host, my interview guest. So it's great to have you.
Likewise.
So we are going to talk mindset today, because it is, of course, at the very foundation of what we need to do when we want to acquire clients. And mindset is so foundational for everything. It can literally derail you. Like the same person can, with a good mindset, make 50K a month, and the same person with a bad mindset can make absolutely zero. Mm-hmm. And all with the same infrastructure, with the same technical skills and so on. So
right, with the same technical skills, you said with the same mindset. So yeah.
No, exactly, not with the same mindset, but with the same technical skills and professional attitude and so on. Just the mindset is the big differentiator. So we're going to talk a lot about what I learned from you and also about our history together, because it is very relevant to the topic of mindset.
Yeah.
But before that, could you tell us a little bit about your workout today? Because that was quite interesting.
My workout. Okay, so today, or the way that normally goes, it's waking up at 3 a.m. to feed the baby, and then attempting to wake up at 6 a.m. ends up not happening because I need to replenish my body. So I had zero desire to work out, and lately that's just really how it's been. I really love going to the gym because I just feed from the energy, seeing all the people work out around me. I just want to, hit it hard. But I had zero energy to work out, and I have an alter ego that I have dedicated to my fitness part. So I call her the Beast. So I've used this alter ego as a way to just fuel me through workouts. And when I feel that I just don't have any energy in me to do a workout, I let her be in charge. And the way that feels is I was deadlifting, and as I was looking at myself on the mirror, I could see her, and it's an experience as if like an out of body experience. And Beyonce says something similar about her alter ego, and I just saw her at work. She just takes over, and like it's like autopilot. I'm just right there. I'm the body, but she's taking over.
Yeah, and I was actually quite impressed because I knew that you didn't feel like it that day, but then I heard the grunts from the basement, and I was like, that was quite impressive. Like she was obviously putting in the work, So that's great. So yes. Let's talk about alter ego. What is this as a concept? And it sounds, like a little bit like a child who puts on a Superman suit. Yep. So what's the story of an alter ego?
So alter egos have been around for a really long time, and they've been used from poets to NFL players to singers to moms to high performers. Moms are high performers. I love to say that. So it's been used around for decades, right? And the way that we actually use alter egos as we're children is that, you see your hero, like Superman or Wonder Woman, right? So you sort of feel that you're this you feel that you're this whatever comic character or whatever you see on TV, or you see your parents and you're like, oh, I want to be like my dad. I want to be like this, right? And so as kids, this is um what's the word?
So you put on a new identity.
Yeah, but this is something that parents sort of tell you to preserve. Like this is something that as a kid they're like, yeah, be that, you're superhero, wear the cape, da 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 da. And then as you get older, the world starts telling us you had to grow up, you got to be serious about life, you have to do something with your life. And then we sort of just put that alter ego on the side and we don't use them. So having an alter ego as a grown up, it's a great thing because it's sort of you're reviving this childhood sort of personality or characteristics of you.
Mm-hmm. And how is it then relevant for people like those we are talking to, solopreneurs, people who want to grow their business? How is that related to it? Is it a simply a mindset hack for higher performance?
You can really use it in both ways, right? Because one, if you once you build an alter ego, it's sort of like a costume that you step into. You're becoming you don't have to just take the steps of like, oh, I need 30 days, which yes, everything takes time to build in, right? Habits take time to build in, so it is going to take time for your brain to sort of adopt these things. But when you have an alter ego, you can step into that thing. It's not, oh, I have to become, I have to, no, you create this persona. Like Halloween, how I like to think of Halloween, people want to dress up as something and then they go out in the street and they're just pretending that they're Catwoman or whatever. What's this character from the Scary Movie? The one who kills
No,
with the con el machete.
I don't know. Oh, Mike Myers or Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, exactly. Jason, he's out there and he just, so people start acting like that. So it's the same with an alter ego.
Okay,
You
yeah.
step into this costume, you step into this persona you create with different qualities that you need to perform in your business, that you need to perform in different areas of your life. And the beautiful thing about an alter ego is that you don't just have to have one. I have two as of now, and I'm actually working on my third one.
Why? For what? What different purposes?
For example, the beast for me is the beast is just the animal that takes over at the gym, that grunts, that goes heavier, that just wants to go at it, that wants to beat myself in the mirror, like I'm gonna get stronger. You, the whiny girl in me who says, I don't want to work out. The beast says, it says, little bitch, you're not in charge. So you have sort of different language and a different persona in every sense. How it speaks, how it looks, even how it dresses. So there's different things that you can create to really feel that you're stepping into this persona. So that's why you can create different alter egos for different areas of your life where they're needed. Because every area of your life requires you to be different. So
okay, and so what's your other alter ego?
What's the lioness?
Oh, what's the difference?
Well, the lioness is the one that if I hear no, like let's say if I'm prospecting, right? And if I hear no's, I just say, okay, I'm closer to it. I'm gonna get the la presa. I'm gonna get
the prey.
I'm gonna get the prey. You know, it's gonna be mine. I feel it. And it's just sort of this animalistic feeling, which is really similar to the beast.
Yeah.
But it's
I just don't see the difference. Where's the difference?
And then again, we have this conversation because he wants to understand my alter egos, and then he doesn't get it. But then I tell him, I'm the one who has to get it. You don't need to understand everything. As long as I have it down and I know how she can work, each one of them work. That's all that matters.
Exactly, and it's really all about whether you get the results. That's ultimately what you want, and this is also. Okay, before we get into this, I wanted to ask you, why should we get an alter ego? Why should somebody listening to this consider getting an alter ego? Why do you think they could not achieve their goals as Michael Bohanes, who I am? Like, why would I not be able to do it? Why do I need the beast to do it?
So there's for Bo Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Beyonce. Beyonce used to talk about, she said she would say it publicly that she created this alter ego because she used to be a choir church singer. So for her to get on stage and be this provocative woman, like, sexy and just who she became, she needed to create an alter ego in order to protect herself. So if you want to protect yourself, in essence, if you feel that you need to be the hunter, right? If you feel you need to be the hunter, you would create an alter ego around this. But you, Michael, you don't have to be that alter ego. So it sort of protects your identity, in essence. It doesn't mean that...
Sorry, quickly on this. So for example, when I'm prospecting and I really don't feel like it, and I feel, especially, I think many of my clients and people who I otherwise work with, they are concerned about the outbound prospecting part because they're going to get rejected. If you invent an alter ego who cannot be touched by the rejection, it could really help you to get over the hump.
Yeah.
And right, so that's essentially what you're saying here.
And if you create an alter ego of someone who feeds off of that energy of being told no, that's gonna fuel you with even more drive, because you can take no's, you can take rejections in different ways. You can take a rejection as like, oh, they don't want me, which is normally the way that the brain is gonna operate, because we all want to be loved and we all want to be respected and accepted as part of a community, so on and so forth, right? But if you create an alter ego that drives and it's just like in it for the game and for the thrive, what do? You hear no and you just don't care. You say, oh, cool. Maybe no right now, but maybe will be a yes in the future. Or if you're telling me no, I'm getting all these no's, guess what? Next person is probably going to be the yes. I'm getting a no, so I'm getting better. I'm understanding. How can I use this no to understand to get better next time? And then I'm going to get the praise.
Okay, so it's really like a recipe to change your personality in one fell swoop, rather than a gradual evolution towards it. I think that is a huge value that is like that I got from you when, and maybe it would be good the right place now to mention how actually we met, because it is very relevant. We met in a business networking group. So it was, we met online, but not in that way, online, right? And it was on Facebook. And we
did meet in an app.
We did meet in an app, exactly. And so we were accountability partners. And we became really close over that time. And of course, when you are business accountability partners, soon you get into the personal level, because every single business problem is a personal problem. It's a life problem, right? And so you pretty soon get deep and quite deep into the personal stuff. And there were moments when it was pretty hard for me, for my business. I had really bad time at the time. I didn't know where to go strategically. I was losing clients and so on. And I was really in a bad place. And you told me two things that really stuck with me that made a huge, huge difference. And one was to isolate a voice that's telling you, oh, you're not any good, you're not doing that well, oh, look at you, you failed again. Not as the real you, but to isolate it, to kind of to capture it, to crystallize it, and to think of it as just an inner antagonist, somebody who's trying to drag you down. And then when you read something like Stephen Pressfield's War of Art, which I had read at the time already, but it didn't click. Stephen Pressfield, War of Art, a really recommended book. It talks about how every creative endeavor is hindered by like a dispassionate force called resistance. And resistance simply is trying to keep you from doing the work. And you feel it whenever you're doing a creative endeavor. You feel like doing everything else but the work. And resistance is not only resistance from something, it's also a negative voice, because resistance employs very different strategies. And one of them is that it tells you that you're no good, you're not somebody who does outbound because you don't
Yeah, all
like
those
sales and so on.
reasons.
All these reasons gives you very good excuses and reasons. And that thing that you told me there, and we were still accountability partners at the time, that made such a huge impact on me. And I still remember it to this day. The day where you told me this, I know exactly where I was, because it has such a profound impact on me. The fact that you need to isolate that thing that says these things to you, see it as an enemy that's there to be beaten.
Yeah, which is also a great thing. Which is
Yeah.
also a great thing. When you have an alter ego, if you think of Superman, they have an opponent, they have someone they're fighting, they have a mission they're fighting for, right?
Mhm.
So when you separate yourself from these voices, you start to realize many things. You start to not identify with the thoughts that your brain is constantly throwing at you to make you fail because it wants you to stay safe.
Mhm.
And so when you create an alter ego and you separate yourself from this voice and you just hear it as if you're in a room and we're talking to each other and the voice is just like, hey, you're going to fail.
Mhm.
You're going to fail. You're going to fail again. You shouldn't do that. What do? Hey, it's not me. This is not me. All right. This is the thing speaking.
It's the thing
You
speaking,
know?
exactly.
And so like the great thing about the alter ego too is like if you create an enemy, if you name that enemy
Mhm.
as a different identity that you have and you hear and is always speaking in your ear so that you continue to fail and you do not become your mission, then you have even more power to it, you know? And then all of a sudden it just sort of becomes this game that you're playing with yourself and the world where you're like, I am gonna beat this thing. You're talking to me, I'm not gonna let you win.
Mhm.
And then you create weapons
Mhm.
to fight it.
Yeah.
Right?
So you can make your inner struggle, which I think all of us face who we are in this entrepreneurial game. I think even when you are an employee,
Absolutely.
and you just face whatever company politics and whatever fights to get promoted
Yeah.
and so on, everybody's dealing with that kind of inner voice. If you're able to kind of turn your positive self into that superhero, into the alter ego, and the negative voice is trying to keep you from saying, oh, you're not good at this, you're an imposter, and so on, imposter syndrome being a very classic case of this. If you make the imposter syndrome the antagonist who you, the alter ego, is fighting, it's not only fun, but it also helps you to isolate these things that otherwise you so identify with. That is such a crucial insight. It's so important that you really are able to identify and to crystallize and to disassociate from that inner voice.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Cool.
It is key.
And the second thing that I learned from you, which was also incredibly impactful, was the inner conversation. And it still happens to this day whenever I'm down on something and I have some kind of negative thought. You even say that even joking, the brain doesn't know when you're joking. So when you make a self-deprecating joke, as fun as it is, your brain is sort of taking it and using it as material to build the resistance, to build the antagonist. Right? Could you elaborate on this a little bit?
Well, yeah, the thing is that we also use humor to keep ourselves safe and we use it as a mechanism to protect ourselves. Like, for example, I knew someone who used to use humor as a way to deal with his anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So he would joke around and like it was great to hear him because you would hear all these jokes and you would just laugh. But one day I caught him, and this is when I still had an office job, right? And I just looked at him and I said, "You use humor to keep yourself safe." His face just got blank, and he just looked at me and he said, "Yeah, I'm just dealing with a lot of anxiety. I'm still dealing with my grandma's death." And then he just broke down and literally cried in front of me and just poured everything out. And then I said, all right, this is what we do, you know? So when you used to use those jokes that you would, whatever type of joke, we need to be conscious that the brain doesn't understand jokes. It doesn't understand if we're playing around. So language is our internal conversation. We wake up with it and we go to sleep with it. The second you wake up, and even before you wake up, even if you're dreaming and you're like, oh, I'm dreading this alarm, it's about to go off, I'm so tired, I just don't want to get out. It's already speaking. It's already creating that narrative of who you are, what you're up to, what you shouldn't do, how it's gonna stop you right there and then. So it's like I'm in bed and I'm already hearing it. I'm like, oh, this freaking thing, you know? So from the moment you get up, you have to just, and one thing, like this is a hack we use in this household. We say the trash can. So when Michael and I, we get thoughts that are not positive, I tell him, put it in the trash can, throw it in the trash can, throw the thought in the trash can.
And we even make sometimes that movement of throwing it in the trash
throw
can.
It in the trash can. Yeah, because it's useful, right? And so you're sort of, because sometimes thoughts, we don't think that they're things. We just think it's a thought. How bad is it going to be? Yeah. But we start acting based on our thoughts.
Actually, when I was preparing for this, I think this analogy is a pretty good one. It's thoughts are a little bit like smells in an apartment. Imagine if you constantly cook with garlic and fish and so on. If you do it once, but if you do it once, it's not a problem at all, right? If you have a one-off cook-off, where the garlic and the fish,
roasting pig.
Exactly, that's not a problem. It's gonna get out. But the more you do it, the more it really gets into the fabric and the walls, and then you could just do as much as you want in terms of cleaning. You're gonna still come in. There's still something there. Negative thoughts create that to even our character, our minds. It's really difficult to then get in with like a cleaning squad and to clean it up.
Yeah, which then those thoughts you end up becoming those thoughts, and then those thoughts end up becoming also, you become them, and then that also becomes this energy that you're just radiating around you too.
Yeah.
That's why when you're around a negative person, you just feel like, oh, I just don't want to be here. So
cool. So are these topics the stuff you work on with your clients? Could you give us a few examples of clients you work with, and what kind of problems do you help them solve?
Well, so I originally had my mindset program, which is the program that I actually created with you. As we were being accountability partners. And then now that I'm a personal trainer, I've incorporated the fitness part, because I think it's so valuable to, when you harden yourself through working out, you can become someone else, because you're physically and mentally becoming harder and more resilient to life, right? So it has a physical and a mindset portion to it. Who could benefit from an alter ego? Everyone, really.
Yeah.
So whoever is struggling with becoming, with just making a goal happen, even in a relationship, there's people who have created alter egos to have a better family life. So
okay, so it's pretty universally applicable. Okay, good. And now you're also going to be part of the Alpha Lead Academy, so you're going to be creating one of the mindset modules. We're going to be discussing alter egos there, because it really has made a big impact on me, and I want to pass this on to the clients that I have also. But even if somebody does not become a client of yours or an Alpha Lead Academy client, what could you give people like a little bit of like a primer of what they can do to get started in creating their alter ego? Probably one of the things to get started is not to tell others that they're doing it, or what would be like, what are the top tips for creating an alter ego? What can you share there?
So everyone is different, really, in how they can create this alter ego and how they go about things. Some people really thrive on keeping secrets to themselves. So this can be even more powerful when you just keep it to yourself and no one knows, and you're like, I'm this person and no one knows. So it's a really, it's such a personal thing, really. Other people would just feel better just sharing about it. So you really just, there's a lot of introspective that has to get done. So whoever I work with, clients I've worked with in the past, we work on what are the characteristics of people that you admire in your life that you like to become. Okay. What are the things in you you just don't like and you want to change? What do? You flip it around and you become the opposite of that, right? That's part of your alter ego, right? Um, yeah.
So what should people do specifically to start creating that? Like, would the first start be take a couple of characters that you don't like and write them down, and then create a persona, like when an actor creates a new persona that they have to enact, that they describe them in detail? This is what you would recommend?
Definitely. Which we have a worksheet that we'll be sharing with you guys, that you can fill out. It's a few questions. It's like a little tiny bit that you can create to sort of create the world around what an alter ego would look like. Because to create an alter ego, it is definitely a really personal experience, because there's many things you can use personally, even things that have hurt you in the past, how you can actually use them to your benefit, which is something that I've definitely used in the past. Yes, so it's a really unique personal experience of how you can create it. So we'll be sharing this link.
So it's and it's there's no email gate or anything. So anyone who's here on the call can join and to fill this out.
Yeah.
And what you will do is, for people who are present here, if they want, they can share with you their filled out sheet of an alter ego, and it doesn't take long to fill out. It's not like the positioning sheet.
I made it not so overwhelming.
Yeah, exactly.
As I was creating something and Michael was like, this is gonna be work. And I said, it's work. It is work.
No, but this one is a little bit shorter, and it's actually quite fun to do, and I looked at it, so it's great. And what would we recommend you do that if you want to, feel free to send Ana your filled out version, and she's going to give you a WhatsApp voice memo feedback on it,
or LinkedIn memo,
LinkedIn memo, whatever, so that you have some feedback on it and can get started. Cool. Do you have a book? Do you have a book recommendation to learn more about alter ego? What should people be reading?
So one book that you and I love, and you were the one who actually recommended this to me, is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. This is a great book that definitely helps you see life in a different light, and the world of art as well.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely great book.
Good. All right. So worksheet, we mentioned it. You guys should totally, if you want, just quickly drop your email address into the chat.
I'll just send you the link.
And I will send you the link.
No hooks.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a lot of work. It's quite fun to fill out, and you will give them some feedback if they want. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Any questions? If not,
I thought DW's iPhone was going to ask one.
It's David. Hi. No, that's fine. I just unmuted myself since you finished. Yeah, no, it was very interesting. Thank you. And I think it's a great way to think about going about, achieving perhaps what you think you can't achieve, and kind of just detaching yourself from, I guess, the fears and things that hold you back, or when you're nervous and not confident about something. So I think it's a great way to go around that. I think it's just a little bit more in terms of how do you train your mind to step into a different mindset, as you were talking about.
Definitely.
So how would you approach that? Obviously, it's not just comes with the first step. Over time, I guess you learn to condition that.
So the question is, how do you train your mind to do it more effectively?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's so many hacks. I mean, I'm telling you that, like, for example, what I'm doing now is that I'm really trying to take myself to the next level physically. And of course, mentally, you're definitely going to change. And that's why I think that it's so powerful when you do work out with this mindset training, because as you see your body transforming into something else, you start believing and noticing what you can do with little changes over and over and over and over, right? So right now I'm doing a 12-week challenge with myself, and Michael is sort of in it now. Now he's just eating a mountain of
Brussels sprouts and egg whites. It's very fun. We really have a lot of fun with that.
And so I'm eating great 6 days out of the week, and Saturdays I have my cheat day. Last Saturday, we ate a burger, we ate ice cream. I had like a lemonade with a whole lot of sugar in it, and I felt amazing because I knew that I had been on task the whole week. I had been behaving, in essence. I like to think of discipline as we discipline our kids because we want them to become respectful. We want them to go to sleep at a certain time. But as we grow up, same thing that happens with an alter ego, those things go away. And as grown-ups, we say, oh, I can go to sleep at whatever time I want. Sure. But you going to sleep late, it's going to run into you not wanting to get up early to go do prospect, to do the work that needs to get done, to eat bad because I just want ice cream every day. Well, guess what? Next time you want ice cream, you're not going to feel that you're rewarding yourself. You're just like, this is life. You need to make sure that discipline is part of your life. So
as a default and not as an exception, it needs to be the main thing.
Exactly. So how do you do that? You just constantly, and that's why I like to think of myself, the voice that's constantly telling me, don't do this. Oh my God, this is too hard. Wow, aren't you tired? I say, shut up. I'm in charge. You're not talking. You little whiny thing, which I use different words. You little whiny thing. You're exactly why I'm doing this. I'm going to beat you. I'm in charge. You sit down. I'm in charge now. You shut up. Because what you've done has gotten us a little bit of the results that we actually want to achieve. So that's why the alter ego is such a great thing, because it's sort of like you're parenting your inner child in essence.
Yeah. And that actually, it reminds me very much of how we started talking about this, where you suggested to me that I should give the little child a name, and I called him Timmy, right? So that was the initial resistance. I then moved from calling Timmy resistance. I find that more appropriate. I prefer
first you call him bastardo.
Bastardo, exactly. There was that.
And then you call him Timmy.
Timmy, exactly.
Yeah.
But David, to your point, I actually.
Alarms.
I thought about that as well. Yeah,
a
alarms,
lot of things.
Yeah, but one thing that I've learned is so key is that whenever you catch a negative thought, you write it down.
Yes.
Write it down, because with this you build your kind of the persona profile of your inner
of your enemy,
enemy. Yeah. Because you will then see, this is what the enemy thinks of me. This is how he treats me.
Yeah.
And it will not only help you to understand the enemy better, but it will also help you to flip it, as Ana says, to then turn it into its positive. So if the enemy is regularly saying, look how undisciplined you are, or you're useless in sales calls, whatever it is that you're struggling with, you can then turn it around and create that alter ego persona to be exactly the opposite of that. So that's one thing. And a second thing, and this sounds self-promotional, but believe me, it is not. If you even had yourself an accountability partner, probably better is a coach who catches you when you give them like a daily report. And this is why part of Ana's program, as she started it out, is, I wouldn't by no means promoting it, but it's a really good model. It's a really good model. She does daily WhatsApp check-ins, voice memo, where you just tell her how you're doing, tell her how you've been, and then she's able to take that and reflect it back to you and say, look, this part of the inner dialogue that you had, because we have the inner dialogue constantly, this part of the inner dialogue is another manifestation of resistance. It's trying to distract you from the goal. One of the things that I have, for example, whenever I'm successful, whenever I make a sale, I will make several sales, I relent. I do stop doing prospecting
Yeah, the
because I think,
thermostat.
oh, I'm on a roll, I'm rocking it, baby. And that's not good. That's kind of one of the things that I have to work, because my resistance tells me it's one of its devious tactics. It tells me, oh, look, you're doing well. You can now stop pushing.
Chill.
Chill.
Time to chill.
Exactly. So, and I was not aware of this until Anna told me this. I was not aware of it, but she noticed whenever I had made a sale or a series of sales, she noticed, oh, I saw you did quite a lot of other things now. You spend cleaning up the basement or something like that. Is that resistance again? And I was, damn it, yeah, it's true. I relented. So, and the problem is, and that's my main point, because you asked about the aspect of training your mind, is you don't see resistance. You don't see its different tactics that it does to you. And so if you have another person who you're really close with, accountability partner helps, wife helps, but if that's not available, or wife does not have the right mindset, whatever, then I think a coach is incredibly helpful in holding that mirror to you. So sorry, rambly answer, but I wanted to get that in.
Also, if you just create a worksheet with all these negative thoughts that it throws at you, you are going to start being able to actually realize when it's talking to you and where it comes from, because it's this lurky thing in the back that you're like doing so great, and you're like, oh my God, it's such a great day. I'm doing everything as I'm supposed to, as I planned it out. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, remember that thing you saw on Amazon? And you're like, oh, shoot. Yeah, I'm going to go check it out. And then boom, it derails you from the path. So you constantly have to think. And I like to think of it as like, it's not multiple personalities, but in essence, it sort of is, because we have different personalities and voices in our heads. Okay. So you need to differentiate that voice from yours. So once you start writing all those negative thoughts that it keeps throwing at you, you're able to better identify what things it tries to pull to get you from the path.
Exactly.
Okay. So I would say that's the main thing. Just create a worksheet, start writing those thoughts down. And whenever you feel like, oh, I'm bummed out, go to the worksheet.
Oh, and on that note, the worksheet, what has helped me is that when you have some kind of negative thought, that you also write the reframe right below it, because
how can you take yourself out of that?
Yeah, because we are creatures of habit, and even thoughts are habitual, and negative thoughts are particularly habitual. So anytime you get into a rut of a negative thought repeating on a regular basis, get into that worksheet and write down what you did to get yourself out of it in the past. And if you haven't yet, then figure out a way to get out of it and write that way down into that worksheet. And whenever you get back into it, read it.
Also, another thing.
We're giving like a 12-minute answer to his one question.
No, that's fine. Thank you. It's all very helpful.
Good. Well, that's why we're here. Whenever you're feeling your best, record that.
Yeah.
I think that journaling to detail to the T, it's so important, because when you're doing great, there's certain things that you're doing that are keeping you up at that level. Are you eating healthy? Are you sleeping on time? Are you sleeping your 8 hours? How much sleep do you need? Who are you talking to? Because people in your life will feed you good things or trash. And even people we love. I've cut a lot of people out of my life because I've realized that their conversation was not serving me, and I'm up to something big, and I'm not going to let anyone in my head just throw worms in there, because it's like, I look at it as a garden. You need to take care of your garden, and you're not just going to let some random person come and throw trash in your garden. You need to clean it. You need to get the weeds out. People, thoughts, music, TV shows, everything. You just clean your house in that essence. Okay. You clean things that don't serve you. And that's how you're able to also have more mental space for the things that you're committed to, So record when you're doing great and try to recreate that and be as specific as possible. So next time that you're in the dip, you go to that, you read it, you recreate it, and you get yourself in a different state. So
cool.
Yeah. Let me
really
know.
Long,
yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
There's just so many things. Yeah. And add me. I'm constantly sharing things on LinkedIn. It became my platform now.
Mhm.
So
Any other questions?
I just threw one in the chat. Anna, have you done Landmark?
yes.
Aha! I picked up
Have
the
you?
language.
Have
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
And
I
that's
did
one
it.
thing. One thing that, like, did you do the whole curriculum or yeah?
Yeah, I did the whole curriculum. I unfortunately, SCLP was interrupted by COVID. So I don't feel that I really had the optimal SELP experience, but I've done the whole curriculum.
Definitely finish it. I went all the way up to doing
Did ILP?
doing ILP. Yeah. Yeah. And
You're the enlightened thetan now, yeah. Mhm. It's like
well, ILP is just such a confronting thing. Like your whole world is confronted because the standards that Landmark has for like who you need to be a leader are intense. So your your inner enemy, it's always trying to fight that, and it will show everything it can. It can get disgusting, nasty with like your accountability partner, with your coach. So yeah, but I'm telling you, like my life changed when I took Landmark. I took Landmark.
I thought your life changed when you met me.
I mean, yeah, of course, it's always changing, mi amor.
Okay.
Life is always. But yeah, I took it at 26, and that's when I realized that I had never fully taken responsibility for my life, and I took both of my parents to Landmark.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, well, when you said I'm up to something big, that's when I got it.
Yeah.
I was like, I recognize that language, but yeah, this is very cool stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about tapping? Do you know what EFT is? What do they call it? Energy something therapy.
Tell me more. Maybe I've heard of the concept,
when
but
you do this.
oh, tapping. Yeah, tapping. Definitely. Yeah.
Because that's the other thing that
was big in that.
Yeah, that's the other thing that can really help with resistance is like I get the whole voice thing, and I think there's a place for that as well, but the tapping can help you just work through the emotion of whatever negative thing you're feeling like really quickly and just let it go.
What's that?
Tapping. So
tapping is this technique where you tap and you speak. So whatever the issue is, you start out by tapping on the edge of your hand, and you say, even though I'm incredibly frustrated in this moment, I still love and accept myself. So you set up this duality in the beginning, just like 3 times, and then you tap through meridian points on your body. Mm-hmm. So it's the top of the head, the corner of the eye, the side of the eye, under the nose, the chin, and then you go to a collarbone, under the arm, and then the wrist points. And you don't have to tap hard. It's just a real light thing. But through all of those points, you talk your way, I'm feeling really frustrated. I'm so frustrated. This really sucks, whatever. But then as you transform the energy, you start with the positive. So you say, I wonder if I could turn this around. I wonder if I could, manage my money more effectively, or whatever the case might be. And so you end on the positive as you tap your way through, and you maybe go through 3 or 4 times. It's a cool technique.
Interesting. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I've never gone deep into it, but
cool. Any other questions?
We'll have more to talk about, Barbara.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, this is great, you guys. Great.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Great to have you. And
thank you.
See you next week. Thank you.
Speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Welcome.
Bye. Have a nice evening. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The State of Client Acquisition is a Content 360 production. Music by Gavin Knox-Grand. To sign up for alerts and to submit written and audio questions, go to stateofclientacquisition.com. Unless I announce it otherwise, the live podcast is recorded on Wednesdays each week at 7 p.m. Central European Time. That's 6 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. Eastern, and 10 a.m. Pacific. And you can always join by going to www.talktomichael.com. That's Michael without an E. But if you sign up at the podcast page, you'll get the link in an email each week. I'll talk to you in the next episode.